present data analytics.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the April Tableau user group here in Charlotte, virtually here in Charlotte, I should say. We've got a pretty exciting agenda for you today. We've shared in the past that we really want to focus on community building here in Charlotte. We want to explore all ways to help build you as Tableau, as folks who work with Tableau in your day jobs, as well as help you connect to the community that exists around the product. So really excited to build on that theme today with our presenters. We're going to be joined by Candice Munroe from the Toronto user group, who is also affiliated with the Viz for Social Good initiative. She's going to tell you a little bit about that initiative, what it is, how you can get involved, what it does, who it benefits, as well as just give you some background on some of the nonprofits they've worked with before. Following Candy, we're going to have our very own Derrell Pate give you an overview of mentoring in Tableau. So being intentional about mentorship, helping develop the next generation of folks who come behind you. So really excited. Hope that you'll take something away from both of these presentations today. Couple other housekeeping things as we get ready to kick off. Rashid is sharing his screen. What you're seeing on the share here is our Charlotte Tableau user group page. This is our splash page, usergroups.tableau.com/Charlotte. This is where you can find any and all information about upcoming meetings, our leadership team, our YouTube channel, how to get in touch with us, links to the community forum, as well as links back to other user groups around the country and world. Rashid has everything linked here. It's a tremendous resource for our community. So a little bit about our leaders here is he's showing you links to our YouTube channel, links back to other content that we think you'll find valuable. We wanted this to be a one-stop shop for all of you. So with that, today's session will be recorded as usual, and will be uploaded to the YouTube page. So we've got links to the user group site, we've got the YouTube page, we've got mentoring meetup that Rashid will cover a little bit later as we head into Derrell's presentation. One other note I wanted to share with you guys. It's really exciting news for one of our leaders, but kind of a bummer for us. Rashid has been with our leadership team for about 2.5 years now. He's helped us stand up all of this amazing content you see around our splash page and the Charlotte user group resources. All of that is his doing. Rashid's not leaving us, but he is taking a role with Tableau, which is very exciting for him from a career perspective. What that means, though, is that he will no longer be able to actively serve as a leader on the user group, and will no longer actively be able to represent Charlotte as an ambassador, which is kind of a bummer. But we're very excited for Rashid. He's meant a lot to our group. William and I, he's made William in my life very easy over the past couple of years with his enthusiasm and his talent and his skill set. And so you'll still see him. He's absolutely still planning to attend. He will contribute presentations now and then, but the only change you'll see is he just will no longer officially be listed as a lead. So he's not going anywhere. He's staying here in Charlotte. We're still keeping in contact, but his new role will preclude him from being a leader. So we just wanted to take the opportunity to thank Rashid for his contributions and tell him how much we appreciate him in front of all of you and embarrass him real nice. So William, do you have anything you want to add on Rashid to embarrass him in front of the group?
I won't embarrass him further. Just Rashid, thank you so much for your contribution and your leadership over the last few years. You've taken us from a pretty good, okay user group to a really professional, really good looking user group. So thank you for all that.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it. And just like what Jeremy said, this is not an in memoriam. This is not the end of Rashid, and we've said Rashid will still be here for meetings. He just, he'll just be an attendee going forward. That's all.
We will also ensure that he no longer speaks of himself in the third person.
Touche.
Yeah, so a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. Wanted to make everyone aware to celebrate his contributions and highlight that. Yeah, so jumping into content for today, I mentioned earlier, Candice Munroe is joining us to talk about Viz for Social Good. Candy's an independent consultant out of Toronto. She's been working with the product for a number of years now. She has been involved with Viz for Social Good. We reached out and wanted to introduce that initiative to the team, and she graciously volunteered to come present for us. So we're thrilled to have her today to kind of fill you guys in on the history around the group and hopefully a call to action to get involved. It's a project that I've watched from afar for a while. I'm familiar with the original founders from the Tableau community. But really, really admire the work that they've done and the attention they've been able to draw for various nonprofits through these initiatives. But I will not steal her thunder any further. Please welcome Candice Munroe to the Charlotte User Group.
Well, thank you very much to the Charlotte TUG organizers for inviting me here today. And hopefully I will be able to impart some of the inspiration that the participants in Viz for Social Good have imparted to me. So it is definitely a very inspirational cause. And as Jeremy alluded to, I'm also a member of the Tableau user group in Toronto. And, so I have a lot of stuff going on the go, but I just can't give this one up. It's a very worthwhile cause. And I'm very happy to be here today to represent. So anybody paying attention will see I have like 28 slides or something, but don't panic. I'll whip through most of them pretty quick because I really want to focus on helping you guys figure out how to get involved, even in like whatever, it's a virtual kind of environment. So like, not just now, like it's a pretty global initiative. So you can stay involved even after we go back to normal, which is hopefully pretty soon. So this is a little agenda for today. But like I said, I'm going to focus mostly on how you get involved. Okay, so in the beginning, this is our fearless leader, Chloe. And I guess Jeremy's probably met her, but if any of you have ever met Chloe before, she could be the most modest person I've ever met. I dare you to Google and try and find a bio on her. It's not easy. But she's very friendly and welcoming, and she's taken this initiative to basically, we as data visualizers have so much to offer the world, and why can't we put that work to nonprofits as on a volunteer basis to help them get ahead? So that was the concept. So that happened in 2016, and in TC 2016, this was when this kind of was launched. So it's been around about 5 years. The first community project was launched for Stanford University in January of 2017. And then our site was launched. And in the first year, we had more than 10 projects. And they're listed, some of them are listed on the website. We don't go back to all of them, but you can have a peruse of those a little bit later if you want. So from there, we've now done over 30 projects with 4,500 volunteers. And like I alluded to, it's a pretty global it's a pretty global initiative. So not only are the nonprofits global, like they're from all over, but also the people who participate are. And I'll go through how we sort of keep everybody involved in different time zones and different, and locations. So these are some of the nonprofits that we've worked with. So the African Youth Mentor Network, UNICEF, the Sunny Street and Kieran. So lots of different facets, lots of stuff about women in politics as well. So anything nonprofit using data, we try to chip in and give our assistance. We've been recognized as an organization. They won the Silver Prize for Community at the 2017 Information is Beautiful Awards. They were a finalist in the Fast Company's World Changing Ideas in 2018. And Chloe has gone and spoke at the United Nations General Assembly, which was quite an honor. So we've come to this point. We've grown from our humble beginnings, but in order to move forward, we need support, obviously, from anybody who wants to volunteer or, suggest a nonprofit to work for, to work with us. Whatever assistance you could volunteer and help out with, we would be more than happy to have you on board. So that's where we are going forward. So these are some of the projects we've that have happened in the past. So this is the African Youth Mentor Network, and this is one of the visualizations that came out of this out of that project. So it's a very powerful visualization, but very attractive as well. So I'm just going to feature a few of the projects and a few of the visualizations. There's many more on Tableau Public. We don't actually restrict the visualizations to Tableau. So some people from some visualizers use different products. Sometimes they use different visual analytics products. Sometimes they just, they're just visual people. They use some other product altogether. So sometimes it's not Power BI, sometimes it's not Tableau. But as long as they can make a beautiful visual that represents the data and the nonprofit gets the meaning out of it. So this project was about women in Uganda and what their impact was on the parliamentary system. So this was done by a team of people. So that also does happen as well. So if you put some work into it and maybe get together a few friends and submit a visual as well, some people do that as well. So the next ones I'm going to feature are some visuals from my chapter in Toronto. So this is Kieran is a free online learning for refugees and underserved communities. And I like to feature Samantha's visualizations because, it's great to have a beautiful visual. And they're certainly like very awe-inspiring and, oh my goodness, how did you do that? And we all like to dig in and kind of see how we can apply that in our visuals going forward. But most of us know in our day-to-day lives that the most impactful visual can be a bar chart. And Samantha really gets that. And I mean, this visual has a lot more to it. It's a scrolly version. So it goes on and showcases many more pieces of the data. But, I took this section of it to show that sometimes the most impactful visualizations are just a simple bar chart and a map. This is the same project and another Toronto visualizer, but obviously she has a lot more of a bent toward the visual, and it's definitely very, very beautiful. But it does have less of the bar charts and the data as. This is Adrian. This project meant a lot to me. I really got into this project, although I didn't do a visual myself. But this Bridges to Prosperity project was about building bridges in Rwanda and about what impact it had on the people there. So, there was a lot of talk in the session about how, it saved people so much time. They didn't have to walk basically all the way around to get across a body of water, and who it affected and what they were, where they came from, the communities they came from, the communities they went to, and, what reason they were using to travel. So you can see a lot of that has been represented in this visualization from Adrian. So this is another one by Decisive Data that's focusing on homelessness. So they just picked out pieces of the data and visualized it and definitely made a very good, very impactful visualization to represent, what they were seeing. This is another one from Dear Tech People. drawing attention to the differences in the disparity, gender and ethnic disparities in tech companies. And I think that this is probably based on the Fleurlage shapes blogs that they have about using shapes to, so I'm sure that's where they got that. So for get involved, I'm just going to go out to the website because really that's where you're going to get involved. So this is the Viz for Social Good website. And sorry, I should have started at the start. This is our landing page. So all you have to do is go to Viz for Social Good. And this is where you'll start. So you can see that we have some of the visualizations here that have been done in the past and the current project, etc. So once you get here, where do you start? So if you go to About, you can see the projects that have been done in the past. So we don't have a current project. We have one due to, can everybody see my screen? I have a message. Yeah. You can see the website? Okay. I have
wait, I'm sorry. We're looking at your PowerPoint slide right
now.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Let me stop sharing and reshare because it seems that it's not, I was working on the website. So let me try again. Can you see the website now?
Yeah, Viz for Social Good. We got it.
Okay, good. Okay, sorry, my bad. So, okay, so this is the main page. You're going to land Viz for Social Good. This is where you land. Okay, so if you go to About and Projects, so this is the number of projects we've had over the years. And we don't have a current project, but we do have a project that's scheduled to start imminently. So we're just waiting for a data set and then that will be launched and you can start to come here and get the data. So if you go into one of these projects, like this is the one that just ended in March, you'll get a write-up on the organization, and the project, what they are looking to get out of it and who the audience is, et cetera, and then the data, et cetera, et cetera. So how you get involved is you sign up to be a volunteer. You don't have to sign up to be a volunteer. All this sign up to be a volunteer does, though, is that when we have a project available, we'll send you an email. So it's just a way of like reminding you like, oh, we have a new project if you want to come look or whatever. And then you would come back to this project page and like read about the project. And decide if you are inspired by this project and you think this is a good thing to do, or you have some knowledge in this area and you think it'd be something you can contribute to. You can decide at that point. So, but I would encourage you to come in here and just sign up for the emails, and then it's easy to kind of as a trigger to remember, that something's been launched. So once you sign up to be a volunteer, you come and you look at the project, you think, oh, this is great. I really understand this. I really think I can contribute to this. I know what I'm going to do. Like I can picture what my visualization is going to be. So you come here, you get the data, you download it, you do your visualization. We usually have a deadline to submit so that we'll put on the volunteer page, the project page. And then this is how you submit it. So we'll have a Google page where you can submit to say that you've submitted something, to register that you've submitted something, and you post something on social media and tag us in it. So, usually most people use Twitter or LinkedIn. So we have a Twitter page. For sure, you could also follow that on Twitter. And then I encourage you, even if you decide that this project isn't for you, you don't really know, like if you could do something, a visualization. If you sign up for the Eventbrite, it's very interesting to come to these events. The nonprofit that launched the project will be presenting there. You'll get to hear them speak about what their project is about and about the visualizations and what impact the visualizations are going to have for them. Generally, we pick finalists, and the finalists will present their visualizations and show what aspects of the data they highlighted and what they thought was important and how they thought that would work for the nonprofit. And then we obviously pick a finalist as well. So I find those Eventbrite events are like very interesting. Like it really ties it all together, and you get to see not only what nonprofits are trying to do for good in the world, but you also see what impact the data can have on those nonprofits. So I found those very interesting. I'd like to highlight that. So one last thing I would like to say before I kind of close off and take questions is we also need to connect with nonprofits. So if anybody has any suggestions on somebody that would be, looking for help with data, or would be a great, if you have any ideas in your own community, like we'd love to hear from you. Really all we need is a clean data set and a commitment from the nonprofit to work with us, basically. So we're just really looking to get out there in the world and, do our part to help out. So I'll go back to the PowerPoint. I don't think I covered. Oh, so obviously this is our Twitter handle here at VizFSG. That's our website, and I covered these. So if anybody has any, well, again, I picked the wrong screen. Sorry, my bad. I didn't present my whole screen. But if anybody has any questions, I'd love to take questions now if you.
Hey, yeah, Candy, we got one question from Lucy. She wants to know, does everyone at Visit Social Good work as a volunteer?
Yeah, it's all volunteers. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So it's like, I think that we've just gotten charity status. It's not quite clear to me, like how that's going to change what we do, but yeah, it's just a volunteer organization.
Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah, to Candy's point, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A or the chat. So I say thanks again to Candy, for taking the time. And again, Candy's also the Toronto, one of the user group leaders for the Toronto TUG. So be sure to check out their future sessions because they've got some great content in addition to the Visit for Social Good stuff. But yeah, Candy, unless there's anything else you want to address, let me know. I don't think we have any other questions right now. Go ahead.
I'll just put this slide up here. Like if anybody wants to, obviously the most important thing, if you do one thing, it would be to follow Viz for Social Good on Twitter. And maybe a second thing would be to sign up to receive the emails on the projects. And, from there, if, something inspires you, that would be great. And reach out to us if you have any ideas or questions or concerns. We just love to hear from you.
All right, thanks, Candy. I'm inspired.
Awesome.
I hope the rest of you guys are inspired as well. So yeah, I wanted to just take a second, thank Candy again for her time, and definitely great content with the Viz for Social Good. It's a great thing to be a part of, guys. So you really should, to Candy's point, just learn more about it, if nothing else. Okay, if there's no other questions for Candy, we will segue over to Derrell and Zeta. Want to take a second to introduce Derrell and Zeta. Derrell's, he may look familiar. He's done a few presentations for us before in the past. He's got 9 years, I believe, of reporting and analytics experience. Right now, he's an analytics lead at Wells Fargo. Don't believe what he says. He is a Tableau expert-ish, maybe. He's better than he'll give himself credit for, is what I'm basically saying. But the good news is today he's going to talk about being a Tableau mentor. Derrell took it on himself to basically help mentor Zeta Boyd, who we have with us today. So the both of them are going to tell us basically about their journeys as a mentor and a mentee. So Derrell, I'm just going to basically give you the floor, let you take it away.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the introduction, Rashid. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your wallpaper. Yeah.
Wallpaper. Okay.
Yeah.
How about now?
Still looking at the looks like a sky wallpaper and a green tent. Still see the same thing. Oh, okay. Now we got it.
Awesome. All right, great. Thanks for the introduction, Rashid. I'm going to talk very briefly, and then I'm going to turn it over to my mentee. to talk about her experience as a mentee. But before that, hi everyone, I am Derrell Pate. I do work for Wells Fargo currently. Just a little bit about my background. I am a Tableau 10 qualified associate, and I have my MBA in business analytics. Typically with some of the analytics that I do at work, we do a lot of topical analysis. I think the last time I presented, we talked about hurricane analysis and geospatial data, and also doing visual work to make sure that dashboards are usable and functional for executives as well as analysts on the team. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my mentor journey. So this is going to be a little bit of a different session, not as hands-on, but just to talk about how that journey has been for me. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now, but really what kicked it off for me is attending Tableau conference in 2017. It really opened me up to the possibilities that were there with Tableau, getting really good with the tool, networking across industry, and then collaborating with people within the Tableau community. And that ties into the Viz here. This was my first Iron Viz that I saw, and this was the winner. This was Zillow data in 2017, and I remember really being blown away with the way that this dashboard was built. And it's funny that this is Zillow data because last year, especially during the pandemic project for myself was to start using Airbnb for a rental that I have here in Charlotte. So one of the things I wanted to do, being an analytics person, is how can I use analytics to make the best decision about rentals, prices, and the locations if I wanted to purchase a new one. So in 2020, I started an LLC for Airbnb rentals, and I needed analytics on what was the typical rental rate and what are the local trends. Are there areas that are growing? Are there areas that are shrinking? And how can I prove that with data? So definitely needed a lot of help, and recruited Zeta, which is going to talk a little bit more about her experience with me, as well as the results of our mentorship. Being in the community, I really didn't think I was going to be able to mentor, but with taking inspiration from the Data School, which is a great resource, the Zen Masters who publish their Vizes, Medium articles, as well as Viz for Social Good, which we just saw, those analytical and visual inspirations can help you to mentor others and provide like a little template for you to use. The final piece, before I turn it over to Zeta, what are the tools that we use for our mentorship? So initially when we started, I started out by showing some of the Vizes I had created, and then providing a data set and saying kind of what we were looking for. So there are some Airbnb data sets that are available via Tableau, and we just zoomed in on the Charlotte market to look at what areas could charge the most. What do those Airbnbs look like? What are some of the common themes that we saw with them, especially within the data? And we supplemented this also with a data camp subscription, which runs the gamut across all things analytics. So coming up to speed with SQL, coming up to speed with Python and Pandas for data analytics, and then finally using Tableau, specifically Tableau Public as a tool that it was free and gave us the ability to really visualize some of the data that we were looking at. Medium and Data School tutorials and articles were a great resource for me. And recently we started to do the real world fake data Vizes. This is a hashtag that's currently on Twitter that releases data that's kind of been expunged of personal information and still gives you the ability to work with that type of data. They have everything from call center data to social media. It's a really good experience to work with kind of clean data to make a, I would say, visual industry Viz. And then we also did some fun projects too. We mixed in pulling our Netflix history, which Zeta has on our profile if you guys want to take a look at that, about her current Netflix viewage or viewing during the pandemic. And it's really interesting to see that as well. I started to get into some of the technical tools like Clubhouse last year, and they have people from across the country who talk about their data viz journey, how they hire analysts, what are they looking for when they review resumes, and how do you get your foot in the door if you're trying to work for a big company. And then the final piece, I really want to shout out millennials in data. Chantali, I met her at a Tableau conference a couple of years ago, and her growth and being able to mentor people in the Washington area has definitely been inspirational for me too. For mentor and mentorship tips, it's never too early or late to start on both ends. I still have a mentee in my personal and professional career. And now that I'm starting to mentor, I've benefited from this relationship as well. It's definitely helped me solidify some of the skills, not only in SQL and Tableau, but just from a professional perspective of reviewing resumes and making sure people have what it takes to come into an analyst position. And I think one of the things that really worked for our relationship, at least on my side, is establishing a cadence. So whether it's every Saturday you meet for coffee, or every Tuesday and Thursday you have a technical day and a professional day, try to set some time, a standard time where you can talk. And I believe over time, those sessions will get better and better. Also set aside time for professional and personal development. So you can talk about your technical pieces on one day and then talk about personal growth, whether it be resume review or something that they may have a question on. It's nice to provide yourself fully to your mentor or your mentee. And one thing that Rashid is going to probably talk about a little bit later is on the CTUG site, if you're interested in getting started on both sides of it, as a mentee or a mentor, check out the CTUG site and let's network with our community here in Charlotte. And I think this would be a great pandemic project for us, just to connect people who work in industry. And maybe there's some people who are looking to get into Tableau who could benefit from your knowledge. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Zeta to talk about her mentee experience.
Thank you, Derrell. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see?
Yep, we can.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, thanks, Derrell, again. So my name is Zeta Boyd, and I am a recent college grad. I graduated from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro the summer of 2020. And my degree was actually in African American and African diaspora studies. And today I just wanted to talk about how learning Tableau kind of led me to get hired as a business analytics consultant at PNC Bank. So my Tableau journey, around August 2020, I was talking to Derrell about my post-grad plans and how my job search was coming along. And I hadn't had any luck at that point, so I began to ask him about his career. And he asked me if I had ever heard of Tableau, and at that point, I didn't know anything about it. So shortly after we had that conversation, we met up, we got our laptops out, and we downloaded Tableau, and he kind of showed me through Tableau Public and helped me create some simple vizzes. And then at that point, I guess that's when he officially became my mentor, and he gave me my official first homework assignment, which was to find some data and visualize it. And it took me forever, but this is what I came up with. This is a screenshot of my 2020 Netflix watch history. It was super basic, but I was so proud to do it all on my own. It took me a while, but some of the things that helped me when I was first getting started with Tableau was the Data School, Tableau Conference, Calling All Rookies, the Charlotte Tableau User Group. I attended a session back in February, and Rashid was presenting, and it was super helpful for me when I was starting out. And also I use Data Camp, which is a paid subscription. And in addition to Tableau, I did learn other skills to boost my resume. I ranked each of my skills from 1 to 5 stars, and 1 being a complete beginner and 5 being an expert. As you can see here, I'm pretty comfortable using Tableau, Excel, and SQL. Python Pandas had a bit more of a learning curve for me personally, but I'm still working on those skills and trying to get better. The resources I used to learn these skills were YouTube, W3 Schools, HackerRank, and Data Camp. And also, while I continued doing my independent learning, Derrell and I would check in at least once a week. Most of the time it was twice a week. We updated my LinkedIn together and we did resume reviews. And once I began to get comfortable with my skills, I began to apply for jobs. And after about 2 to 3 months of heavy job searching, I got hired at PNC. And so that's where I am now. I am super early in my Tableau journey still, and I'm super excited to see where I end up in the next few years. But before I go, I wanted to share a viz that I made not too long ago using the gun violence archive data. This next slide, it's a pre-recorded demonstration, so I won't be speaking during the video, but it's only about 4 minutes long, so it's super quick.
This viz is called Mass Shootings in the United States from 2013 to 2019. Underneath my title, I have a caption here, and the most important piece of information here is the definition of a mass shooting, which is defined as an incident where 4 or more people are shot or killed, not including the shooter. If you take a look at the map, you can see that each orange dot represents a city where 1 or more mass shootings occurred. According to the legend here, you can see that the larger the dot, the more mass shootings that occurred in that location. There is one large dot that stands out on the map, and when you hover over it, a tooltip pops up, and you can see that the large dot represents Chicago, Illinois. When I click on this dot, the rest of my dashboard will update and display information specific to this location. The table underneath the map shows all the shootings in Chicago, Illinois from 2013 to 2019. And on the side, you can see in the overview, it counts 163 incidents, 698 people injured, and 99 people killed. And the deadliest mass shooting over that 6-year span in Chicago, Illinois occurred on October 12th, where 5 people were killed. Right now, the dashboard is only filtered to a single location, Chicago. But if we wanted to take it a step further and filter by location and year, we could do so. If you go to the filter by year box, you could see a drop-down where I have all years selected. So I'm gonna unselect all the years and I'm gonna check 2015. As you can see, the rest of the dashboard updated, and you can see that Chicago had 15 incidents in 2015, 59 people were injured, and 10 people were killed. And the deadliest mass shooting in Chicago, Illinois in 2015 happened on September 28th and claimed 3 lives. If we wanted to check another year, we could. Let's check 2016. So in 2016, the mass shootings doubled in Chicago, Illinois. I've reset my dashboard, and I thought since this is the Charlotte Tableau user group, it would be interesting to see the data on North Carolina. So I'm going to zoom in here on my map. And we can see one dot is larger than the rest. And so when I hover over it, we can see that this dot pinpoints Charlotte, North Carolina. And Charlotte has had 15 incidents, 58 injured, and 8 killed. And the deadliest mass shooting in Charlotte occurred July 11th, 2013, and 2 people were killed. So this was a super simple dashboard that I created. There was so much you can do with the data set, and I'm gonna have that linked in case anyone wants to check it out. And the last thing I wanna point out on my dashboard is this button here. This is just a hyperlink that I created using dashboard actions. And all it does is takes you to my Tableau public profile, which I will link in case anyone wants to follow me on there or check out the rest of my visits. But that is the end of my demonstration today, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed.
Okay. All right, that is the end of my demonstration. If anybody wants to contact me, feel free to screenshot this slide. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me on Tableau Public, or email me if you have any questions that you may think of after this presentation.
All right, thanks, Ada. All right, we have a quick question, but I have a couple questions too. I want to have like kind of like a little open chat with you guys. So Derrell, you're still there, correct?
I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. Derrell, a quick question from Lucy Lynn. Wanted to know, does Zillow provide free rental info data? Like when you, with that dashboard you were showing, were you able to get rental information data from Zillow for free?
No, that's a good question. So there are a couple of different things that Zillow does provide for free on their research channel, but that's not one of them. One of the things that I use for Zillow is if I wanted to purchase a property, I was able to do research at the zip code level and at the county level to look at what the average purchase price was over an amount of time. There are some tools like Airbnb, DNA, I believe it's called, where you can pull that data, but that will give you like the rental rates for 2 to 3 years in certain areas. And that was what I used to kind of decide what I was going to charge for mine.
Okay, all right, good question.
Yeah.
All right, I guess real quick, I got questions because this is to me, this is big and this is important because you both represent different sides of the Tableau journey. And I'm always a big advocate of saying, I don't care what your skill level is, there's always more to learn and there's always something you can teach. Meaning that you don't have to be an expert. You can be like, just to Zeta's point, Zeta, you just taught a few people. Like you're already now mentoring somebody, you know, just from where you're at right now. And Derrell knows this, like, you know, that it, to me, I always champion the whole mentor-mentee relationship as much as possible because I go to beginner sessions sometime and I learn stuff. And it's not like I learned something in Tableau that I didn't know how to do. I learned what it's like for someone who's new in Tableau to be using the current version of Tableau. When I was new, there weren't set actions or parameter actions or multi-database joins or geospatial joins. And you know, so we were lucky we came in early and we learned things one at a time. And then next year there'll be a new release and you learn this, that, and the third. For me, I was curious from Zeta, from your perspective, when you come in and you've got a lot you can do now with the tool like Tableau. My first and second dashboard that I ever built didn't look is good by today's standards. You see what I'm saying? So is it tough? Do you feel like as someone who's coming in that you have so many different choices and so many different ways you can build something and so many different options? You have extensions, you can bring things in from other sources. Is it overwhelming? Does it feel overwhelming as a beginner now? I know you don't have a basis of comparison, but is that something that you would say is, or is it not, is it okay? Like, do you enjoy having a multitude of ways to do something?
It was quite overwhelming at first because I did follow a lot of great people on Tableau, and just to see how advanced their vizzes were and to see like my first Netflix viz, I was like, gosh, this is super plain. I have to step up my game. So I did have to work with it a lot. I spent a lot of time on Tableau in the first couple of months trying to figure out how to format everything and to make it visually appealing. But yeah, definitely it was quite overwhelming at first, but I think I'm kind of getting the hang of it at this point.
Okay, good point. And I guess, Derrell, for you, as someone who's trying to teach Tableau, are you finding yourself, is it difficult to be a mentor trying to keep up with all of the different iterations? Because to say this point, your first and second dashboard 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was, you know, however long ago it was, you probably wouldn't build that by today's standards. But I don't know if you feel like today's standards are more complex than kind of what a beginner might be ready for.
Yeah, you're right. So like the ability to do what you can do in Tableau 2020, what maybe wasn't available to us in 2017 or even before that. One of the things that I learned early on, and this is why the supplemental learning with DataCamp was important, were the way that I would do things today is not, or before is not how I would do things now. So I remember when me and Zeta first started, I started writing this really gnarly calculated field. And then I realized we could use parameter actions to make it. And Zeta kind of coached me through that piece. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. You can use parameter actions now. I don't have to teach you how to write this long LOD calc. And that was part of it. Some of the newer features that you're aware of, but you already have a way of doing it. You're like, yeah, this is probably more familiar to you because you've learned it. This is probably an easier and more efficient way to do this. So yeah, it's been great on both sides, I think.
Yeah, and I think you just hit the nail on the head. I'm saying all this to say, and I think it just proved my point. Guys, it doesn't really matter what stage of Tableau you're at. There's a real positive value of being both a mentor and a mentee, because you're going to learn one way or another. Like even if you just have a few hours a day, it's something that we, I guess I'll share, because Derrell did bring up a good point. This is something that I do want us as a community to at least make available. Give me 1 second. I got too many screens here. So let's try this. Real quick, do you guys have any parting words or anything like that you want to share with the community? While I'm figuring out my screen share here. Okay, let me know when or if you guys can see. I'm sorry. Okay, Derrell, am I sharing? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see the CTUG homepage.
Okay, to Jeremy's point, way back in the beginning, all of our content can always be found basically at this particular link. I'll throw it in the chat real quick. I think I put it there earlier, but I'll throw it in again. All of our links, all of the information, even if Derrell and Zeta want to, the materials they shared today, we can get that all kind of uploaded to this site here. So if there's a link that you want to bookmark, it's the one I just put in the chat. It's the usergroups.tableau.com/Charlotte. But what I really want to talk about on our community forum page, and I've already got it open right over here. I just put it out there basically as a question. If you're interested in becoming a mentor or a mentee, just go out to this and just basically, just put your name and kind of your contact information, because we want to connect people within our community who would be interested. It doesn't matter, and again, it doesn't matter what stage of Tableau you're at. I don't care if you used it for the first time yesterday or you've been doing this for 10 years. If you got a little bit of time to spare and you're interested, like I said, in becoming a mentor or a mentee locally, by all means, like I said, reach out to us on our community forum page, and we're going to try to put people together. But I do want to share that there is actually mentoringmeetup.com. And this is, it's not like it's an official Tableau thing, but it is kind of more of like a nationwide thing. And it's the same principle, connecting mentors with mentees. So if you're interested in that, I can't encourage you enough to actually, to reach out to those folks and get involved that way. We're coming up on the hour. I want to take a second to thank everybody. I want to thank Derrell. I want to thank Zeta, and I want to thank Candy. It's really, really great content. It's good for us as a Charlotte user group to kind of get, some different stuff and not just always, how to do this in Tableau and how to do that in Tableau. Anything you guys, like I said, contact information, anything like that, anything on your journey that you want to call out, it's kind of like a piece of advice going forward for people.
I think this mentoring thing would make a great brain date idea.
That's a really good point. Candy, tell us more about brain dates. I participated in brain dates during conference, but it is something that I heard, I believe, is coming back again, right?
They just had a session of brain dates like virtually, which I did go to one. Just somebody I think in North Carolina was doing something on genealogy. I kind of thought it would pique my interest, but basically you log on to the site. And you go in and you pick a topic, or like I've never started one myself, so I can't speak to that. But definitely, if you have a topic, you can go in and create a brain date, and people can like peruse your topic and kind of join in. And you can either do a one-on-one brain date, or you can do a brain date as a group.
Good point.
Yeah, but so I participated in it, but I haven't created one. But.
No, I got you. Yeah, and you're right, because I'm pretty, and again, I don't know anything for a fact, but I mean, if I'm guessing, I think Tableau Conference might be virtual again this year, and if it is, I think they will be bringing brain dates back. But let us do some investigating on our side, see if we can find out more about brain dates. I think you're right. I think that there might be a good synergy between the two. Really good point.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be fun, like to connect people, or yeah.
And I'll piggyback on what Rashid said about mentoring. Even if you're currently using Tableau, if you have like a niece or a nephew or someone who recently graduated in 2020, I think it's a great opportunity, not just for Tableau, but to network with people in industry, because it's tough to find a job via the pandemic. So something as simple as resume review, how to perform in an interview, what are the skill sets that are required, and linking people together, that can be really invaluable information.
Yeah, and to Derrell's point, I can't stress this enough, especially if you're lucky enough to have a mentor or mentee type of relationship. We live in a world where the more tools and the more technologies you can learn, the better. Derrell's lucky enough to be able to use Alteryx. I don't really have that luxury, but I use him as a way to constantly kind of learn and stay up to date on that. And it's, especially as we start talking about, cloud-based databases and all the other ways that you can bring data into something like a Tableau, you might find out that your mentee is using a tool that you might want to learn down the road. So that's what I mean, that sometimes now we're kind of just getting into networking, but these relationships, they're much more valuable than some people realize. So to Derrell, to Zeta's point, to Candy's point, even if it's not through us, but really, take advantage of any mentor-mentee relationships that you can, even if it's internally at your own, your own job within your own corporation, they will help you out long-term career-wise. Okay, we're at 12:55. If no one has any questions, if nothing else, I'm going to thank everybody one last time and give you guys back 5 minutes and hope you guys enjoy your weekend.